Welcome back. Episode 10 picks up after Sua's desperate moves lead to a shocking incident. Yeol's sacrifice to save Yeon-do has everyone reeling. Can they recover, or is this the breaking point? Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive back into the drama. Sua storms up to Yeon-do and delivers a harsh slap across her face, accusing her of faking innocence. As her emotions spiral out of control, Sua grabs Yeon-do by the collar, screaming threats to kill her, before throwing her down the stairs. Yeol rushes in and catches Yeon-do, but the momentum sends them both tumbling down. They roll to the bottom, where Yeol lies unconscious and bleeding. Ha-jun and Sua freeze, horrified. Overcome with panic, Yeon-do desperately tries to wake him. An ambulance arrives to take Yeol away, with Yeon-do and teacher Yang accompanying him. Meanwhile, the rest of the team curses Sua, except for Dong-jae, who notices her lurking in the shadows, consumed by anxiety. Principal Choi watches the uploaded video of Sua and reacts in horror at Yeol's accident, dreading the explanation she'll owe his father. Sua's mother is equally panicked, but misdirects her anger, yelling at Director Lee for failing to control her daughter. Her priorities, as always, remain skewed. Meanwhile, Yeol's father speaks with Yeon-do's mom about whether she's told her daughter about their plans to marry. She decides to wait until their meeting that weekend, explaining that their children's approval is essential. The mood shifts when Dad gets a call from Teacher Yang about Yeol's accident. Shocked, he rushes to the hospital. At the hospital, Yeon-do insists Teacher Yang not call her mom, not wanting to worry her over a sprained wrist. Yang reassures Yeon-do, saying the doctors confirmed Yeol will recover, as his unconsciousness is due to medication. Sitting beside Yeol's bed, Yeon-do tearfully admits how scared she was and pleads with him to wake up. Hearing her emotional plea, Yeol's lips curl into a smile as he teasingly asks how she plans to get him back. Yeon-do's relief is palpable as she rushes to fetch Teacher Yang, but Yeol grabs her arm, stopping her. At the same time, Ha-jun arrives at the hospital, frantically searching for Yeol. Yeol, now sitting up, challenges Yeon-do again, smirking, and she responds by leaning in and giving him a gentle kiss. But Yeol isn't satisfied. He catches her wrist, pulls her closer, and kisses her properly. Ha-jun walks in just in time to see the kiss. His heart breaks as memories of Yeon-do and Yeol together suddenly take on a different meaning. Stricken, he turns away, his pain evident. Yeon-do's mom accompanies Yeol's dad to the hospital but doesn't go in, feeling uneasy about meeting Yeol under these circumstances. Yeol is surprised to see his dad's concerned arrival, and Yeon-do diffuses the awkwardness by introducing herself as Yeol's classmate. She beams when Yeol calls her a good friend, prompting him to chuckle softly. Yeon-do leaves father and son for their reunion. Outside, Yeon-do's mom lingers but avoids being seen, pretending to head home when her phone rings. Mother and daughter narrowly miss crossing paths. Yeon-do, meanwhile, replays the kiss in her mind, overwhelmed with emotion. When Dong-jae calls, she blurts out how far from okay she is. Inside the hospital room, Yeol and his dad struggle with their strained dynamic. Dad clumsily offers to help Yeol with random things, making the atmosphere awkward. Yeol finally tells him to act like his usual distant self. Remembering Yeon-do's mom's advice to express gratitude and love, Dad awkwardly thanks Yeol for being okay. Sua hides in her secret spot, only to be discovered by Dong-jae. He calmly tells her to apologize to Yeon-do, who wasn't the one who uploaded the video, and to Yeol, who got hurt because of her actions. Sua nods numbly, already burdened by guilt. "I know it's my fault," she says, her voice hollow, before walking away like a broken doll. She goes to her mom's office, seeking comfort or guidance, but her mother is all business. She tells Sua there's no reason for her to stay at Sevet anymore. They're preparing for her to study abroad. In a trembling voice, Sua admits that she hurt someone and didn't mean to. Her mother brushes it aside with a curt, "It's taken care of." Desperately, Sua tries to confess everything, abandoning Yeon-do, framing Yeol, cheating on her exams. But her mother cuts her off again. "Those things are nothing." "Nothing?" Sua echoes, lost and disbelieving. Her mother tells her to focus on the Ivy League dream and ignore trivial distractions. She promises to protect Sua's precious specs, her intensity bordering on fanaticism. The weight of her mother's words crushes Sua. Her voice breaks as she asks if there's any end to this relentless pursuit. Unable to face Yeol, Sua stops short of entering the hospital. Instead, she calls to check on his condition. Upon hearing that he's okay, she breaks down, sobbing in relief. Meanwhile, Ha-jun waits in the hospital foyer, sitting quietly until he notices Yeon-do coming down the hallway. He watches her leave, lost in thought. Ha-jun finally enters Yeol's hospital room. Yeol, noticing how late he arrived, teases him but can't hide the warmth in his smile as he shares that Yeon-do had been keeping him company. Ha-jun's expression tightens at the mention of her, but his attention shifts to Yeol's injuries. Furious, he rails against Sua, but Yeol quickly warns him not to cause trouble while he's recovering. Eager to lighten the mood, Yeol reminds Ha-jun of a childhood promise they'd made, to tell each other first if they ever liked a girl. With a soft smile, Yeol admits, "I think I have one, a girl I really like." But before he can say more, Ha-jun cuts him off. "Tell me later," he says, forcing a smile, "when you're better." Back at the dorms, Yeon-do catches Ha-jun returning. Seeing her, he's reminded of the kiss and tries to escape, but she blocks his path. She asks why he didn't visit Yeol earlier, and he snaps that he was busy. But his soft nature prevails, and he can't leave without checking if she's okay. Amused, she teases him for worrying about her. Later, Yeon-do joins Dong-jae in the common room, where he shares that the other students have turned against Sua, leaving her entirely friendless. They're calling her a monster, he says, clearly distressed. But Yeon-do, still shaken by Yeol's injury, finds it hard to sympathize. "I'm tired of giving her chances," she admits. Alone, Sua checks her phone, which buzzes relentlessly with hateful messages from classmates. The words calling her a monster, wishing for her death, consume her thoughts. She imagines the students' accusatory voices surrounding her, and she screams in anguish, unable to enter the school building. Aimlessly, she roams the streets, stopping to stare at her reflection in a store window. The words "I am" above her reflection stir something in her, and she's forced to confront her wrongdoings. Eventually, Sua visits the ashes of her middle school friend, so young, who had taken her own life. She recalls her mother's scornful remarks about the Sevet students' carefree joy and, sobbing, asks So Young if it's truly impossible for them to be happy now. That night, Yeon-do lies awake in her dorm, her gaze drifting to Sua's empty corner, her mind heavy with unease. The next day, Teacher Young grows worried about Sua's absence, especially when he's unable to reach her by phone. Spotting Yeon-do sneaking off campus, he starts to intervene, but then stops himself. Instead, he texts her, letting her know she's been caught but giving her permission to leave, as long as she's back before lunch ends. Yeon-do surprises Yeol at the hospital with a smuggled lunch, complete with twin banana milks. Yeol's face lights up with delight, though he worries they might get in trouble. Yeol can't resist snapping countless photos of her, finally leaning back in satisfaction. "I was dying to see you," he sighs, grinning. "And now I get to see you all the time." Meanwhile, Sua approaches the door of Yeol's hospital room. Through the window, she sees him surrounded by the cheer team, laughing and happy. She hesitates, sadness clouding her face, before tucking an envelope into the doorframe and quietly leaving. Outside, she crosses paths with Dong-jae. She admits that she came to see Yeol and owes Yeon-do an apology. For the first time, she seems at peace. As she walks away, she turns back to Dong-jae and asks for a favor. The two of them spend the day playing games at an arcade. Sua laughs freely, a rare sight, as she eagerly asks what fun things they can do next. Dong-jae hesitates, worried her mom might get upset, but she waves it off. "She won't be scolding me anymore," Sua says with a quiet smile, one that hides deep sadness. Yeon-do tries calling Dong-jae but gets no answer. Elsewhere, he and Sua ride bikes along the river, the wind in their hair. They stop for ice cream, and Dong-jae mentions how Sua was always too busy studying to enjoy simple pleasures. She regrets not doing these things with Yeon-do and vows to start now. She takes a deep breath and apologizes for using his fear of physical contact against him. Dong-jae is surprised. Sua isn't one to say sorry. She smiles faintly, admitting, "It wasn't so hard after all. I'm sorry, Dong-jae." Back at the hospital, Yeon-do steps out of the lively hospital room for some air. As she walks, Sua's envelope falls to the ground. Curious, she opens it and finds a letter inside. Her eyes widen as she reads, and she hurries back to her friends, her expression urgent. "Something's wrong with Sua," she says, showing them the letter. They read it together, their faces falling in shock. Night falls, and Sua and Dong-jae stroll through the city. She thanks him for helping her make good memories to take with her. Dong-jae, confused, asks why she's not heading back to the dorms. She explains she has one more stop to make and wishes him well, hoping he'll overcome his fear of touch. With a genuine smile, she says goodbye. Yeon-do, on the verge of tears, finally reaches Dong-jae by phone. He tells her he spent the day with Soo-ah. Alarmed, Yeon-do asks where he is now, and Dong-jae takes off running to find her. At Sevet, Principal Choi informs Soo-ah's mom that her daughter will face consequences. She'll forfeit the midterm and receive community service for her actions. Furious, her mom protests, reminding Choi of all the bribes and gifts she provided to ensure things like this wouldn't happen. But this time, Choi stands firm. "It's too late for me to protect you," she says grimly. Their argument is interrupted by a call informing them that Soo-ah has disappeared, leaving behind a suicide note. Back at the hospital, Yeon-do, Yeol, and the rest of the cheer team crowd outside, desperately trying to hail a taxi. Yeon-do clutches Soo-ah's letter in her injured hand, crying, while Yeol places a comforting hand on her shoulder. Soo-ah's voice narrates the letter as scenes from her day flash by. "I'm sorry. Why were those words so hard to say all this time?" she writes. Alone on the street, she reflects on the moments Yeon-do helped her. How to say thank you, how to say sorry, how to reach out when I'm lonely. For me, everything was too hard. She remembers her relentless pursuit of academic perfection, believing it would lead to happiness. "Even if I was miserable today, I thought I'd definitely become happy tomorrow. Why is it that I became more unhappy? Why did breathing get harder? Why did I turn into a monster?" Her words grow heavier. "I despise myself so much that I don't have the confidence to keep going. Don't believe the adults' lies about sacrificing today's happiness for tomorrow. You have to be happy today to be happy tomorrow." She ends the letter with heartfelt apologies to Yeon-do, Yeol, Teacher Yang, and the cheer team. Finally, Soo-ah comes to a stop in the middle of the street. She pulls out her phone and turns it on. Soo-ah's mom paces anxiously in her office, waiting for updates. Her phone buzzes with a message from Soo-ah. In it, Soo-ah apologizes for not being the daughter her mom wanted, but expresses gratitude for achieving first place once, even if it wasn't truly her merit. Meanwhile, the cheer squad scours the streets, desperately calling out Soo-ah's name. When they regroup, Dami breaks down, blaming herself for what happened. The group is filled with guilt, recalling moments when Soo-ah confided in them. Ha-jun reminds everyone of her heartbreaking words about her mind consuming her heart, urging them to search again. Yeon-do, racked with guilt, is convinced her threat to expose Soo-ah pushed her over the edge. She sobs, feeling helpless. Yeol shares in the regret, realizing how harsh she had been toward her. Elsewhere, Dong-jae sprints through the streets, searching tirelessly for Soo-ah. Finally, she steps onto a busy road, her expression distant and blank. Dong-jae spots her just as Yeon-do and Yeol arrive at opposite sides of the crossing. Yeon-do screams her name in desperation. A car speeds towards Soo-ah, horn blaring, but she doesn't move. At the last second, a hand grabs hers. Dong-jae pulls her into a tight embrace, conquering his phobia in the process. He breathes a sigh of relief as Soo-ah breaks down in tears, clutching him as she sobs. Across the street, Yeon-do and Yeol watch, tears streaming down their faces, overcome with relief. Back at school, the team struggles to move on as they wait for news about Soo-ah. They've been unable to visit her, and their spirits are low. When Yeon-do returns empty-handed from yet another attempt, disappointment hangs heavy in the air. Sharing strawberry milk with Dong-jae, Yeon-do can't help poking him lightly, testing his newfound ability to handle touch. But he admits he can't even remember what he was thinking in that crucial moment. Her smile fades as she wonders aloud when they'll see Soo-ah again. At home, Soo-ah's mom takes control of the situation, making plans for her to study abroad. She assures Soo-ah everything will be fine and insists this is the best way to start fresh. But Soo-ah lies motionless, offering no response. At school, a trio of students gossip cruelly about Soo-ah's absence, speculating about her mental health and celebrating the boost in their rankings. The cheerleaders burst in, surrounding them. Dami scolds them fiercely, while Taepyeong backs her up with equal intensity. One by one, the cheer squad admonishes the trio, pointing out that instead of gossiping, they could offer support or kind words. Hyo-shik reminds them they're all part of the same team, saying, "We're friends. If I hear this again, you'll regret it." Meanwhile, Principal Choi arranges Soo-ah's transfer with Director Lee. When she suggests dismantling the cheerleading club in Soo-ah's absence, Teacher Im steps in, reminding her that the ministry is closely monitoring them. Though subtle, his words protect the club, leaving Choi visibly displeased. The cheer squad feels Soo-ah's absence keenly during practice. But the harshest blow comes when teacher Yang announces her impending departure to study abroad. The news leaves everyone crestfallen. In her hospital room, Soo-ah receives her phone from Director Lee, who tells her there's an important message. It's a video from Jae-young and Nae-yeon, and for the first time in days, a small smile crosses her face. One message after another lights up her phone. Dong-jae sends a video of himself successfully performing a cheerleading stunt, crediting her for inspiring him. Even Ha-jun, usually stoic, records a heartfelt message, encouraging her to endure tough times together with them. Soo-ah's smiles slowly grow into laughter. As she packs her bags to leave, one final message arrives. It's from Yeon-do, a homemade slideshow of their memories together, including silly moments like their Teletubbies reenactment. The last frame shows a picture of the two of them with the caption, "Friends, real." The camera pans out to reveal the entire cheer squad gathered in the background. Yeon-do's voice plays over the video, admitting she could never fully hate Soo-ah because of the memories they shared. She assures Soo-ah she's not alone and has friends who will stand by her no matter what. "You were the one who made this cheerleading club," she adds with a playful pout. Tears stream down Soo-ah's face as she watches. Yeon-do promises they'll teach her how to ask for help and insists she hurry back. The video ends with everyone crowding into the frame, smiling brightly. Soo-ah's eyes glisten with fresh determination. That's it for today's recap. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all the latest recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.